My name is Lily Stewart, and in an attempt to pursue my happiness, I created my own font. Fonts are everywhere. They show you the date, the time, text messages, Snapchats, Instagram captions on your phone, the emails, Word documents, PowerPoints, and Google Classrooms on your Lenovo, clothes, shopping bags, websites, and pretty much any text that you can think of is made from a font. And the best part is that every font is made by a person. I love art and lettering, so I thought it would be a good idea to use my own handwriting to make an original font. Using something that I already love doing and channeling that into another aspect of creating, I thought would make me happy. At first, I thought that making a font would be easy. If so many exist, then it must be simple to create my own. So, I did some research and found a few ways to go about making a font. First, I could download a template, print it out, write my letters on it, and upload a scanned version to my computer. Then, the website would do all of the hard work in conversions and I would have a font. The second method would be more labor intensive because I would have to use complex software like Adobe Illustrator. I would have to encode each letter into a certain pattern in order to export it into a font file. My final option was to use an application called FontSelf, which is an extension for Adobe Illustrator. It converts drawings to fonts. Throughout the course of my project, I worked with all three of these methods to figure out which one was the best for me. I ended up making a font with FontSelf. This method allowed me to work with Adobe Illustrator without complicated coding. Here's how I did it. First, I drew out what I wanted my font to look like on paper. I used a pen and thicker paper. I drew my font out because it gave me an idea for what I had in mind for the next step. Step 2 was to open Adobe Illustrator on my computer. I had to download this, but it was pretty easy. Then, I wrote out my letters on the computer. Lenovo's have touchscreens, so this was pretty easy. Then I opened up FontSelf, which I also had to download from the internet, and dragged my letters that I drew into the software. FontSelf automatically divided each drawing into a letter, so all I had to do was label and adjust each letter. I made sure that each letter lined up on the base and had an even top line. Then I exported the font as a font file. Here's the result. It isn't perfect, but for my first font, I'm really happy with it. I did accomplish the goal that I set for myself because 1, I made my own font, 2, I learned how to use Adobe Illustrator, and 3, I learned how to use FontSelf. I'm really happy that I was able to learn these softwares and this skill because it helped me in my future that maybe includes art school or graphic design. These softwares are commonly used in many graphic design jobs, so it was good to start learning it young. Even though I accomplished my goals, I did have a few setbacks. When I first started, I had no idea how to use Adobe Illustrator, so I had to figure out what each button, and promise me there's a lot of buttons, and what each button meant and how I was going to use the software to achieve my goal. Second, when I was writing out my letters, Illustrator crashed very often. I had to restart my project a few times in order to keep working. I honestly felt like changing my goal because the only thing that creating a font was bringing me was frustration. However, the joy I felt when typing out sentences with my own font helps me understand the meaning to pursuing happiness. Sometimes in life, you might feel like giving up because something isn't going your way. You might not be starting on your team, getting the time you want in a race, or getting good grades. However, I learned from this project that giving up is only a temporary solution. This is the same thing in life. To achieve your goals, you have to be consistent and relentless in your plan to get there, even if that requires learning a new program.